kind of a one sheet pan type of veggie protein mix. You're going to need for equipment. Obviously, you're going to want a sheet tray that you're going to put all of your veggies and your protein on. Then we're going to move on into starting up the veggies protein sheet tray. And we all good? Okay, start with the squash. Lob off the top. Discard that. And then you're going to take a vegetable peeler, peel the outside layer. So I'm using a butternut squash. You could use any type of squash. You could also use sweet potatoes. If you're using sweet potatoes, you do not necessarily probably need to peel them, but it's your choice. Okay, when you sort of have all of that white, veiny skin off, you'll discard the skin. And then the next thing, you're going to take the squash, you're going to cut right down, right above the bulb. And then you'll take a spoon, scoop out the inside part here. Chop the this thing in half, the bulb. Scoop out the inside. Mine's a little tricky. All right. All right, so now we'll dice up the squash. So I'll start with the bulbs. And whatever squash I'm going to be cooking, I'm going to throw it into an empty kitchen bowl. And then there's two different ways you can go about slicing this part up. You can come across and just do discs, or you can hold it up upright and slice down. And then we'll dice up the stalky part of the butternut squash or potato, whatever you're dicing up. So you're going to go ahead and add that to your bowl. You'll go ahead and add some olive oil. We'll need the oil to cook the veggies in, and then go ahead and add some of your newly fresh, awesome spice mixture. And then toss it around. Give it a nice coat. And then we're going to start the cooking process. The squash is going to take the longest because it's the most glycemic. It's the most hardy thing to break down. So we're going to start with the squash. I have my my sheet tray with the parchment lined paper. The parchment is going to help with clean up afterwards. That's going to be the main reason. But I'm going to start here. Okay. And I'm going to go ahead and add that into the oven at 400. And we're going to be on the clock for 30 minutes. So this whole sheet pan thing will take about 30 minutes. Okay. So I'm going to start the clock. 30 minutes. And then the next piece, what you're going to do after you have the squash all done, you're going to cut up your onion. So I lob the tops off and then slice down the middle, peel out that outside layer. Discard the tops and the skin. So now with the onion, what I'm going to do, I'm going to slice. You can do a couple different ways. You can do rings or half rings, which would be to just cut along the ribs of the onion. So, or you can do dices. So I'll just do two variations for mine. So along the ribs, all I'm going to do and then when it gets a little flimsy, I turn it face down. So this is one way to go about cutting up your onions. Okay. Whoops. The other way is you'll slice along like 3 slices along the lengthwise and then just kind of cut along the edges. You're going to make small dices. That is also an option. So whatever suits you well. So again, what we're going to do, add some olive oil to the onions. Add some of that spice mixture. Anybody crying? Whoa, I am. Okay. So I'm going to take that sheet pan out and I'm just going to add the onions on top. throw it back in. Okay, then the next thing we're going to do, we're going to start with the cauliflower. And to cut the cauliflower, what I'm going to do, I'm going to hold the knife as such, and I'm just going to start to slice that core out from the middle of the cauliflower. Not quite. Okay. Are we all good? Where are we at, folks? Are we, okay. I got a thumbs up, so I'm going to keep going. So you want to try to get rid of all that stalky white stuff as much as you can, clean it up. And then all you're going to do, you're going to start to break down the cauliflower. So I like to just slice along the stalk and just make like kind of bite-sized pieces. You can make them however big or small you want. All right. So again, same process when that cauliflower is broken down, olive oil and spice mixture. And give that a good toss. And then I'll add that to the sheet tray. And I'll use a spatula to kind of start mixing it around a little bit. Kind of brush it off to the edges. And back into the oven. All right. So from here, what's gonna happen is I'm gonna go ahead and start the rice mixture, okay? The other thing you're gonna wanna do is get your beans ready. So what I did was I'll add a can of 1 14-ounce can of black beans in at the very end of the rice cooking process. So with the rice, 1 cup into the saucepan. And then I'm going to add my liquid. So 1 cup to 2 cups of water or liquid. So add that and then put that on the oven or the stovetop, sorry. And we're going to bring that to a boil.
Nick, just a question about those beans. Do you use all of the juice, or are you
I know
straining?
what you want to do is sort of when you want to drain them. So once you open them up, drain them out. One of the things I want to just add, like with the beans themselves, like in the can, they have a lot of sodium. So it's always really nice to also be able to like soak and cook your own beans. So that's also available to you. It's an extra step, but the sodium level compared to what's in the can and what you make at home is a lot less.
Just out of curiosity, how long does it take to soak your own beans?
Oh, you would soak them in a bowl overnight, and
Okay.
then when you wake up the next morning, drain them and then put them in a pot, and then just bring them to a boil and then let them simmer for about 1 to 2 hours.
Okay.
But you can make a big batch of beans and then freeze them and then just continue to use them.
Okay, nice. So do you add the rice and the beans at the same time, or is it
No,
rice?
I'm gonna add the beans at the very end.
Okay.
Put them in. So once they're drained, I just kind of keep them in a container off to the side. You can kind of get a little. We'll get to this step because you can add maybe some cilantro to that mixture. So you can kind of get a little fancy with it, but for right now. So once that water comes to a boil on the rice, we'll click it down to a simmer and then put the lid on top, and then we'll let that cook. And then everything, it may get done a little bit sooner, but the rice will stay warm. So and I like to kind of keep mine a little ajar, just to kind of let a little steam kind of come out of that. Just a personal preference. You don't have to. Okay. Everybody's rice cooking? Okay. Now we're going to move on to the peppers. Okay. So poblanos, green peppers, red bell peppers, doesn't matter. Again, I'll just show everyone the chandelier cut one more time. So again, holding the knife right here. And then I'm going to start with the stem of the pepper against my belly button. I'll start off at like a 45-degree angle and then slice around the stem of the pepper. And there you can kind of see the chandelier of the pepper. And I'll just discard that. It's a really efficient way to, if you can practice this skill, the chandelier cut, it's just really nice to be able to have that in your arsenal for efficiency when you are cooking, so that the pepper seeds aren't falling onto your cutting board and getting in the way of you chopping and slicing. And it just kind of looks badass. It tells the people that you're cooking for that you know what you are doing. Okay. So once the pepper is all done on the chandelier, I'm just going to keep the fleshy side down as such. And then I'm just going to make strips. Turn them sideways, cut it lengthwise or crisscross-wise. Okay, again, down flat like this. Turn it. Perfect. Okay, then we'll add those poblanos, bell peppers, whatever you're cooking with. We'll add that to your bowl. Olive oil. And spice mixture. And toss. Make a mess so then your spouse can come and clean it up after you. That's what I say. But I have to cook, I have to clean up after myself. So I only live by myself. So any mess I make, I've got to clean it up. But now we're going to move over. We'll put this into the sheet pan. Okay, adding and give that a good mix. All right, and then we'll put that back in the oven. Okay, so the next and final step here for the sheet pan would be to get the chicken ready. So what we need is our chicken. So if you have that out of your package, if not, now would be a good time. I just have it.
Nick, I don't mean to interrupt, but in the beginning, you forgot the your signature cutting board trick that I don't think many people are aware of. Do you want to bestow that upon us?
Oh, you mean like the wet paper towel underneath the cutting board?
Yeah.
Yes, I forgot to mention that. Yes, always have some kind of slip resistance towel or something or mat underneath your cutting board so that when you're cutting, this baby doesn't move. You do not want this thing rotating as you're cooking because it could rotate, and even I learned the bad way. I learned from my own mistakes.
There you go.
But I had a sharp knife, so the healing process is actually coming along really nicely. So, but good reminder. So thank you for that, Danny. Has everybody got their chicken ready?
Oops.
Almost. Chicken set. Okay, so that spice mixture again, you're just going to dust the top. So it's your choice as the chef in your kitchen whether or not you would want to now, like, you can slice this up and throw it on the sheet pan, or you can just throw them in whole and you can do that slicing at the very end, or you can just serve the chicken thigh whole as itself. So those are the types of things that are always up to the person cooking, the chef in residence. So I'm going to leave that step up to you all at home, but I'm going to go ahead and just add it in whole myself. So I'm going to take my sheet tray out. Right at about, let's see, 20 minutes here. We're perfect. So I'm going to make a little room on the edge here, or like in the middle. I'm just going to add the chicken thighs sort of around the bed of veggies. Don't worry if you're thinking about cross-contamination. It will cook long enough so that any bacteria or cross-contamination will not even be a factor here. So I'm going to go ahead. If it looks a little bit something like this, it looks kind of pretty just as is. But what we're going to do, we're going to put this in the oven for about another 10 minutes, check the temperature on the chicken, and then we'll start to drop this baby into our meal. Joe's just thinking about it.
Yeah.
But you can kind of see now, because of the broiler, I've got some really nice caramelization, some charriness, which is awesome. I'm going to go ahead and check it out. Oh, yeah. Joanna, your chicken done? No? No.
What did you call this dish again, Nick?
What's that? What's this dish called?
Yeah.
It's a wild joy pole bowl.
Pole. Okay.
Joy pole.
Is there a poke bowl or?
There is a poke bowl, yes. I was like, oh, like, I don't know. I could have just called it a wild Chipotle bowl, but I don't know. I like to be a poet. And
Yeah. No, that's good. Yeah. Got to name it something. Right?
Gets me in trouble, Joe, being a romantic.
Oh, does it?
Yeah. So I will leave it up to Amanda when you're ready, and Joanne, you're ready. Okay. Okay, so we're gonna plate it up. Okay, well, this is called the drop. So this is where we bring it all home. This is where we're going to assemble the dish and then drop the guacamole in on top, and then it will be bon appetit. Okay.